Worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. Back to finish up that video on making love, sex, and effing, right? And the difference between the three. So I left off, cut off with the statement that women are natural love makers, right? Simply because their ability to convey affection and love in very beautiful and soft physical ways is unrivaled, if you ask me, right? Their natural ability to nurture only lends itself toward that process of conveying that positive energy, that warm, high vibrational frequency energy to another individual, right, with compassion. And I know some of you might be like, wait a minute, how much compassion am I really trying to be having on my mind during my sex here? Don't get it twisted, folks. Because you're making love does not mean it has to be boring or unsatisfying. No. You can be as athletic as you can get yourself to be, right? It's more about where your energy is at that time. Do whatever you do. That's your decision. But where's your energy at? How do you feel about one another when you're doing it? Is what's paramount, right? There are people who have sex, or rather, who F one another all the time in this Western society and have little to no feeling for each other. Really don't even know one another, right? There are even a lot of instances in our culture where individuals have sexual contact with one another and not only don't feel anything for each other, but goes a step further and may even feel some level of disdain or dislike for one another and still engage in sexual activity for some other motivation, often money. And when I say money, I don't necessarily mean hand to hand like a exchange that one might have with in a prostitution situation or scenario. What about when individuals are in relationships with somebody for the money, and they know going into it that sex is part of that ride in order to get the money? So now every time that they utilize sex as a way of expressing their energy, they're doing it for a low vibrational frequency motivation, which makes the conveyance or the energy that is conveyed low vibrational frequency energy that you're actually conveying back and forth between one another. You can hoo and ah and make all the sounds and orgasmic expressions as you want. But if the place that the motivation for that activity comes from is one that is dark or is of a low vibrational frequency, then that is the kind of energy that you are conveying back and forth to one another. And that actually, I would say, can be more harmful than we may realize, right? It's certainly harmful in that it is bringing your vibrational frequency or your vibrational state down to a very low resonance, right? So let's be careful with that, folks. Let's not be effing, if we can help that, right? If we're going to engage in sex, let's let it at least either be neutral, where you at least recognize that this is another individual and respect them as a sovereign entity, and have at least the potential for some positive high vibrational frequency energy there. And even if it doesn't get past the state of being neutral, at least it's just neutral and it's just sex. But if you let it dip down into those low vibrational frequencies, into that lower energy, then it becomes effing, right? And you don't want to F anybody. You really don't. But again, it's our society that has softened the usage of that word, right? That has very subvertedly kept hidden the origin of that word and the meaning of it, and really set us up for some low vibrational frequency activity that we may not even realize we're engaging in often, right? So be careful on that. And one way for sure to guarantee that you're not falling into effing, right? Make love. Make love. Whoever you are engaging into beautiful sexual expression with, make sure that you have some positive feeling toward them, right? You should at least like them and get to know them enough to appreciate them as an individual expression, right? Have some appreciation for them that you're conveying during that act. That's what should be happening. It should be a way of conveying physically to another entity, I appreciate you, and here's how much so. So much so that I want to make you feel good. Making love is about feeling good, right? It's about feeling good. There are some people who have it in their mind that the best sex they can encounter is this violent, rough, hard sex. You know, it's rough sex and all the things that go with it. Not realizing that often in that search for greater sexual stimulation, if taking a low vibrational frequency route, you open yourself up to that low vibrational frequency energy. And you're pretty much scarring the whole process, right? And you're really harming yourself. You're effing yourself. Wow. Wow. You're effing yourself up. Isn't that something? Even that right there. Think about how we use that. I'm gonna F you up. It's not a positive term. That's referring to violence. See, there's clues in all this stuff for us if we use discernment. You can decode all of this, right? But yeah, let's be conscious. Let's be aware of what it is we're engaging in. Let's be aware of our own actions and that we're at least getting to know someone enough to like them on some level. And I'm not telling you you have to have a certain time period that you wait before you engage. And it could be a one-night stand, folks. But you know what? If you guys had a conversation, if you had shared some time, you know, in that day at an event or something, or some way in which you got to know at least a little bit about that person and found some level of appreciation for that person where you at least like them a little bit, you got something to build off of. There's the potential for a very positive sexual expression to take place. You could make love. Remember, when I say love, I'm not talking about what Western society defines. I'm not talking about romantic love. I'm talking about unconditional love, where we're appreciating each other for the creations that we are, for the expressions of our Creator's energy that we are, right? So if we are vigilant about understanding our motivations, right? Then we can be in full command and full control of the kind of experience that we share with one another, right? And we can leave open and available for ourselves the opportunity to have a high vibrational frequency experience, to make love rather than effing when you go into some sexual expression. I know I rhyme right there. I wasn't about to get into, none of the hip hop like I do with my music, but that just happened. All right. No, but really, it's important that I think it's important that we understand the difference between the three, and that we engage in our sexual expressions with that in mind, so that we're protecting our own energy, and not also harming another individual's energy, right? That we are in fact enhancing one another, right? Um, when you make love with someone, that should be an experience that is etched into you forever in a positive way. Not saying it should be on your mind forever, but it should be an experience that you can grow from as an individual, right? It should be something that enhances you, something that rewards you, rather than something that is an ends to a means, right? Where you're trying to acquire something. Don't use your sex to acquire anything, folks. Huh? Um, or certainly there are examples where sex can be used violently, like rape, right? Um, but even if it doesn't go to that negative of an extreme, anytime the energy between two people is not right before you engage in that sexual expression, if it's low vibe energy and you have even the slightest bit of negativity toward one another, then you're effing. Because what you're actually doing is acting out on a place in your being that has tuned into violent, low vibrational frequencies, right? So now you're expressing it to one another physically. And it may not be obvious. You may think that you're engaging strictly in making each other feel good. I mean, folks, we've gotten rather used to effing in our society, right? So I don't blame anyone for having a difficult time discerning between what's what and what we're engaging in at the time. But hopefully, if we keep in mind where we feel about where we are with that other person, right? Do I feel something positive toward them? Do I know them at least a little bit? Do I have a high vibrational frequency, energetic feeling toward them that I'd like to express? About making them feel good. It's making love, right? Let's keep that in mind, and hopefully more of us find ourselves making love rather than out here effing everybody, right? Because really, When you do that, you're effing yourself. You're effing yourself up. Right? Okay. So let's help and aid one another, and let's enhance one another and ourselves by making love. Right? As often and as true and authentically as possible. Never anything wrong with making love, folks. In fact, it's a beautiful thing. It's a thing that is appropriate for our species. Let's not taint it, right? Let's not taint it. Let's not taint one another. Let's enhance one another. All right. Once again, you know what it is. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq. I'm out.